conversation around Deion Sanders. And I've said many times, I said this yesterday on Twitter and actually got some responses I wasn't anticipating getting when it came to talking about this subject and my take on this subject. I think you need to have some nuance when you talk about Deion Sanders. And I tweeted that out yesterday. And then when I tweeted that out, I was met with a little bit of opposition, people saying, what does there need to have nuance for? Why does there need to be nuance with Deion Sanders? You talk trash, you go 4-8, don't do it. Or they have an opinion on Deion Sanders need to recruit the high school level differently. And I have a lot of opinions on that, but I think we're in an interesting spot right now when you talk about Deion Sanders. He is bigger than college football right now. Like, he has become a national mainstream topic. Why? Because he's Deion freaking Sanders. He is arguably the best athlete to ever live. Played Major League Baseball, played NFL football. I don't think it's an argument he is the best defensive back to ever live. And so right now, people are fascinated with Colorado, and they're fascinated with Coach Prime. And so I mentioned that just because anytime you become a national topic and you become larger than life, so to speak, folks sort of tend to just view you in a 2D perspective. Meaning right now we talk about Deion Sanders, and it is either all good, you think he can do no wrong, you think he's going to win a national title out there in Boulder, you think anybody and everybody that has anything negative to say about Deion Sanders is just a hater and they want to see Coach Prime fail. That's one camp. You have another camp that thinks Deion Sanders is going to have a train wreck kind of operation this upcoming season at Colorado. They think the way that he's doing it is wrong. They think the way that he operates on Twitter is wrong. They think that the way that he adds talent and only uses the portal for the most part right now is wrong. And they think it's just going to be an absolute dumpster fire. I'm here to tell you, I don't really subscribe to either thought as of right now. And I think that's more than fine. I think it's okay for us to have a little bit of nuance. Now, why are we talking about Deion so much? Because I know we're going to get some of that in the live chat and some of that in the comment section. Say, you keep talking about Deion. Y'all, the reason we talk about Deion Sanders is the same reason I tell you we are the People's College Football Show. We supply what y'all demand. So if there was not a demand for us to talk about Deion Sanders, we wouldn't do it. Same reason we're not talking about Ivy League football. I love Ivy League football. I could talk about it all day long, but y'all wouldn't care at all. Y'all would turn the show off so fast. And so when it comes to talking about Deion, the supply and demand is there. So when it comes to the way that we talk about Deion Sanders, going back to my point here, I think we need to kind of break down this mental barrier for us that we can't say anything negative about Deion Sanders. Like, Deion Sanders is a college football head coach, and I understand that he has celebrity status. We still, on this show, being a college football show, have to talk about him as a college football head coach. We have to understand that, like, that is his job. He is paid to win ball games, and that was a big reason why when that athletic article came out and that athletic graphic came out where Xavier Smith is talking about how he wasn't, known by Deion Sanders. He felt like he destroyed kids' confidence. Again, the article, I think, read completely different than how that graphic made it seem. It wasn't a hit piece. I thought it was just, quite frankly, a report. It's okay for us to say, yeah, Deion Sanders is a head coach. He's supposed to win football games. Like, I have no problem with him cutting players. It's the business. If you're hiring someone to do a job and he does something to help him do that job better, he says, hey, this ingredients, the supplies I have right now is hindering me from getting done what you want me to get done, and acts accordingly. Why are we dunking on Deion Sanders for that? I have no issue with that. But in the exact same time, if I tell you, hey, they went 4-8 last year, there are things to me that scream dysfunction about Colorado, whether it be Sean Lewis being demoted, felt kind of like a panicky thing, and then he goes and takes a head coaching job, felt like a bad move. Seeing all the things with the players that have transferred out, some of those I understand, they weren't real losses. I think Dylan Edwards was a real loss. It is what it is. I just think there has to be a little bit of allowance here for us to have a middling opinion on Deion Sanders. We don't have to think he's the greatest of all time as a college football coach because they went 4-8 last year. We also don't have to believe that it's just an absolute train wreck. Now, I've been very honest about this on this show. I have been critical of Deion Sanders and how he approaches the high school talent acquisition level. I really do. I think that the way they have approached adding high school talent, and most notably not doing in-home visits, is a massive mistake. And that's not because I think Deion Sanders isn't a great recruiter. In fact, the opposite. I think if he were to go in-home, it would change the game for Colorado recruiting. It would change the game for how they acquire high school talent. And I understand he wants to go through the portal, and guys that, are going through the portal don't really have a ton of interest in the home visit stuff or what have you. Like, I hear all those excuses and explanations, but again, we can have an opinion and say Deion Sanders should do in-home visits. Doesn't mean I'm a hater. Doesn't mean Deion Sanders isn't still going to be a good coach long-term at Colorado, but these are things that college football coaches have done and had success doing. I think it's fair for us to say, hey, Deion, maybe this would be a good move for you to do. So that's neither here nor there. But this is the thing that I think needs to be addressed too. People seem to have a hard time separating Deion Sanders and how he operates as a person and how he operates as a coach. Like when he goes on Twitter and is trash talking not former players, but players that are defending former players, and the way that he's tweeting about his son being a top 5 pick to a guy with a Tank Dell profile picture and 271 followers. Like, yeah, I don't like that. I'm not a fan of that. I don't want my college football head coach doing that. But at the exact same time, it doesn't mean he's not going to be a good coach. Like talking trash and the way that you operate on Twitter, I don't think it necessarily correlates exactly to what you're going to do on Saturdays in the fall. Now, I understand it rubbed people the wrong way because it's like, hey, maybe we shouldn't be talking trash after a 4-8 season. Maybe we shouldn't say we got time when we're talking about how we don't have enough time to go do in-home visits. I see that thought process too. But the way that Deion operates is the way that Deion operates. And the way that Deion has beat to his own drum since the beginning of time is why he has had the career he's had. It's why he was able to go play Major League Baseball and be in the NFL at the exact same time. Like the way that he does things is specific to Deion, and it's why he's had the success that he's had. So at the end of the day here, what I'm trying to say is it's okay for us to not have a totally absolute opinion on Deion Sanders. Are there some things that I truthfully would like to see him do differently? Yes, I've been vocal about those. High school recruiting, the way he operates on Twitter, all those things. I'd like to see it happen in a different way. But also, it's impossible to ignore the positives. Had a 3-win improvement when he showed up. They were 1-11. He made them 4-8. 4-8's not phenomenal, but 4-8 also taking 3 more wins, you would take that in a heartbeat. If you're any other team in the country, you take a 3-win improvement, regardless of what you were the year before. So, bottom line here, it's okay to not be absolute in our opinion on Deion Sanders. Doesn't have to be all bad, doesn't have to be all good. It can be somewhere in the middle. I like a lot of what he's done. There's a lot that I would like to see him do differently and stuff that I, quite frankly, just don't think he should do. At the end of the day, Deion's going to be Deion, and here's my favorite part about this whole thing. This is one of the reasons why I'm so okay with talking trash, just period, regardless of it being Colorado or if it's Oregon or if it's Miami or if it's Texas. Like, I'm okay with talking trash because the beautiful part about college football is you eventually have to play the game. You got to play the game. And the consequence of talking trash and then getting beaten, or the consequences of winning, is you get to then live with what you said, and that's how you go forward from there. You either become a social media punchline, or you look like a boss because you called your shot and then you went out and handled business. So at the end of the day here, it is what it is, and Deion's going to be Deion in that field in 2024 that they play on every single Saturday. That's going to tell us the truth about Colorado, and at the very least, give us some more answers. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.